What is up, guys? It is Simba here and welcome back to another team racing video on F124, and today we go to Zandvoort for AEC's Dutch Grand Prix. My first race in AEC this season. I've missed the first 3 rounds and the standings will be on top of the screen somewhere for you to check out on what's been going on, and as you can see we are 4th, but here we are in Zandvoort, a track that I actually enjoy on this game, and we're hoping to do a pretty good job of it once again here in our first race of our AEC season. If you're looking forward to this one and enjoying the content, make sure you hit the like button and get subscribed for more league and team racing content. We've just finished WR, where we actually got an upgrade to 2nd place in the Brazilian Grand Prix after penalties, and we're walking into this one with quite a lot of confidence going into it after a big result in the last one. So here we are on our first lap in qualifying, going through the first sector now, and I do want to mention that, I have changed a few settings. I've actually got my controller vibrating as I'm driving now, so if you want an updating settings video, make sure you let me know in the comments below, as we're on the road to 500 subscribers. But that is quite enough waffling. Let's get on with this lap, as we have a bit of a moment through the second right-hander, and the Delta should be flying up around now, where we backed off in the previous attempt. So this is a lap on 2-lap-old tyres, so we're just looking to get a clean lap on the board here as we go in towards Sector 3. Bit of a drift on the way through the first part, and that's not exactly hampered us too much, but obviously there's going to be quite a bit of time to gain in that first part of the chicane. And now we're going to come up towards the line to complete the first lap, and let's see what it's going to be.
It's definitely not the best lap I could ever do in my life. I said something, but that's not great.
So first lap on the board, and it's a 8.6, and that isn't a great lap. And this second lap isn't too much better, as we're currently down in both sectors, but we do have time to find in the final sector. But we have a bit of a slide through that chicane, through the banked part, and we're just up on the Delta. Now we're finally going to be at least a 10th up by correcting the final corner and just getting a better run out of it. But this is quite a poor lap.
I am driving like shit.
So solid, honest feedback from yours truly, as we are now P9, now pushed to P10, and we've only got 5 minutes to go here, so we really need to find an improvement, otherwise we're going to be in trouble. Down towards turn 1, making sure the car is nice and tight to the apex in 3rd gear, make sure you get a nice exit as well, use a bit of overtake in 4th gear. Now this bank section is very difficult, but we actually nail the turning point and we get nice and early on the traction, and we've gained a 10th, nearly a 10th and a half in one sector. It's a 23.9 in the first intermediate, so we've absolutely nailed the first sector, and we know there's a bit of time in the 2nd and 3rd sector as well, as we're coming through this double right-hander, making sure we don't hit the grass on the inside front, and we swing the car from right to left for this very patient left-hander, where it's very easy for the rear end to step out if you're too impatient on the throttle. And we are a 10th and a half up still, going into the final part of the lap, where there's quite a bit of time to gain here. We're not exactly as aggressive, but we get a much better exit to maintain or even boost our advantage just a little bit. We don't carry the most speed going into the final corner, but we get a very nice exit, and that boosts our momentum by a good 10th and a half, and up to the line, we're 2.5 tenths up, and that is an 8.2, and we're on the front row in P2.
That's more fucking like it, man.
And you can hear the relief, because I was feeling pretty confident about my quali pace, and we've actually managed to show it here. Unfortunately, we did get pushed down to P4 by NLR Yanil, who's part of Shazoo. And big shout out to XPG James in P3, big performance from him. And I feel that my personal best, it was a 219, so our maximum was P3. So we're on the 2nd row, I can't complain. You can see Allison leads the way, the only man in the .1s, so he's going to be the man to beat going into the race, where it's going to be a medium soft strategy, and the tyre wear around here is mainly about the left front, so we're going to have to watch out for that for the race. But here we go, waiting for 5 red lights in front of us for the Dutch Grand Prix. What can we do from 4th on the grid? Let's find out as the lights are out, and we are on the way for the Dutch Grand Prix, where hopefully we get to the end of the race compared to CSS. Going into turn number 1, you can see Yanil and James are side by side, and that kind of just boxed us in a little bit. so we couldn't make any immediate progress on the top 3 going into the first few corners. And we leave the inside line open for Turbo Toms going into the banked corner. We lock wheels with him a little bit as we're trying to go side by side, going down towards this right-hander. And we do maintain P4 for the time being, but at this opening phase of the race, my main concern was Allison getting away from James and Janil, as I wasn't expecting James to be up here, but you'll see that his pace is actually pretty good, and my initial fears are basically nothing, as Agonize gets himself up into P6, and he's my teammate for this race as well. He's made a great start from 8th on the grid, so we've got both cars in the top 6, and you can see James keeping up with Allison quite nicely. So I did have a bit of an urge to pass James so we can try and relax behind Janil and Allison, but unfortunately Agonizer is about to go backwards.
I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb.
And unfortunately Agonizers basically did what I've done in AEC 2 seasons ago on F123, just went a bit too wide for the left-hander and got caught in a spin, and that sent him back quite a few places. So that is not ideal. You can see the leaders changed hands with Janil, James getting past Allison. So James's pace is looking pretty good, but I'm still wanting to get past him just in case, so we can really have our eyes on the top 2 in Allison and Janil and get past James. But unfortunately, we're about to make a mistake of our own.
Oh shit, what the fuck have I done there? Idiot. Oh my god, what the fuck?
And that is not ideal. We've ended up making a mistake. We were just pushing a bit too hard through that final corner, and as a result, Crowding is going to get through. We tried to defend a position, but he manages to get the inside line and hugs the inside line, and it's up into P7 while we're down in P8. But don't fret. We're not out of this race at all, not by any stretch of the imagination. You can see this train is still pretty much locked together, as most races are on F124. It is hard to pass around here, as it's quite a narrow circuit, so if we're going to make a chance, it's going to be out of a mistake. And Crowding gets a little bit wayward through the banked straight.
We change positions or not?
No.
And you hear me refusing to swap places with Agonize, but there might be a swap for P6 as Crowding goes into turn 1.
Come on, good, 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 go, 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 go. Go, go, go.
He is so fat and useless.
Green flag.
It's remarkable. I cannot believe what I've just seen.
Well, that happened. That definitely happened. That move from Crowding is just absolutely horrendous, but I'm not complaining. We're up into P6. Agonized right behind us in P7. But we are going to see a yellow flag right now as we skip to lap 15. There is a virtual safety car, and this means everyone else behind is going to pit.
These people are gonna gain a lot behind us.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh.
That's just great timing, though, isn't it?
So they're going to be on hard tyres to the end of the race. So that's going to give us something to think about whilst we're in this train. And on to lap 16. Wait, what's that sound?
Oh my god. Good. That's no problem. Why the fuck no? Why?
Nah, it's all good, mate. We just swapped the cars.
You are literally not normal.
We're good, we're good.
And we have a massive moment as Agonize goes through. I don't know why I included that music in there, but we move. On to lap 20. We are thinking about pitting now. We are thinking about the pit stop phase. And Agonize hasn't had the best in lap. You can see he's had a bit of a moment through Sector 3. And that's allowed everyone else to pull away just a little bit. But he's going to get the first call of pit stops. He was struggling with the left front as his wear was quite a way higher than mine, even in practice. So we're going to go in for one more lap and box for softs.
That was a phenomenal in-lap.
And nice sarcasm to my teammate, as you can see the gap between myself and VK20 has just gone up quite a way, nearly up to 1 second, and we had to work quite hard to get back into DRS range so we don't lose out. So on to like the end of lap 21 now, and we're going to follow James and VK20. I think his name is Ched, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to follow them into the box, and we're going to put on a set of soft tyres. So our tyres are going to be one lap fresher than those around us at the start of the race, but we are going to have to worry about some hard runners that have benefited from that virtual safety car. You can hear me asking if I'm going to be right in the thick of this train. You can see that train is about to blast past us diving into turn 1, and Agonize is right in the thick of it as well. As we come out of the pits,
Oh my god!
Agonized reaction just tells me that things are kicking off already. You can see cars going side by side, going through the banking section, and there's 2 cars off the road.
Oh my god.
Oh my god!
And that has affected poor Finn Bob, who was ahead of us, and now he's behind us. Up into P9 we go. 2 places gained for absolutely free. And we've got this Red Bull, the fellow XPG driver of Bourbon Boy, who is on the hards. And I'm hoping to get past him as soon as possible. You can hear Agonize getting a bit annoyed in the background. Tempers are really flaring, and he's had quite a frustrating race as it is already. So he's hoping to make sure that he gets through that crowd with no problems at all as we send it up the inside of Bourbon Boy, going into Sector 3. He doesn't put too much resistance onto it, thankfully. So we're up into P8 now, and we are right behind Ched and our fellow soft runners in front of us on 1 lap fresher tyres. Unfortunately, the top 2, Avalison and Yanil, have gotten away. So the pit stop phase hasn't really helped us in our quest for victory here, as we're going 3 wide, going into turns 3 and 4, and Agonize is involved as well. James goes up the inside, there's a lot of contact, and we're going to slip through.
Hey, Jerome, pal. I'm still there, pal. Jesus.
Idiot!
And that is us up into P6, but poor Agonize, you can just hear him raging away in the background. He's not having a good day at the moment. As now we're looking to size up Jerome, going into this left-hander round the outside. And that is a lovely move. Up into P5 we go. And we're still right behind Ched, and we've got EVE Dom, I think, in the Haas. And I think he's on hards as well. So we've only got to pass 1 more hard runner, and we're literally in a fight for the podium again. So I forgot to mention this at the start. My comms with Harvey, my engineer, are not going to be heard. I don't think he included his audio when the stream was happening. But you can see Ched is going to pass Dom. We're going to follow on the inside line. We're going to use the fresher tyres to good advantage here. Going into turn 1, we're side by side, but we get so much better drive. And we're up into P4 now.
Let's go, man. Just annoyed about the top 2.
So you can hear me being pretty happy that we've managed to dodge through the chaos and we've come out one of the big winners, as a podium is still right in our sights. But unfortunately, you can see the gap to Allison is just nearly borderline 4 seconds. So we've lost quite a lot of time. And I don't think we're going to get that time back, because those 2 are pretty damn quick, as they've shown already so far this season. So it's going to be quite a task to catch them as we get past Ched for P3. So we are on the podium after that mistake at the start of the race. So we've managed to do really well to pick up opportunities when they arise. But unfortunately, we're going to have to look backwards instead of forwards here. As you can see, Ched goes straight back through, as DRS is pretty cracked around here. James is looking to follow through round the outside, going into the first corner. We're going to give him a bit of a squeeze, but he's still going to hang it in there. So fair play to him. He's still going to be side by side, going through this banked corner, leaving him space and respect. Bit of contact on the way through, but the contact model doesn't drag us out. Side by side on the straight, but we are going to have to concede the place here. And James gets through.
I tried, but nah, it's okay.
And honestly, I thought that was good racing. Good racing between the 2 of us. So, living proof that going side by side with people is not a foreign concept in the world of league racing in the big 2025. But you can hear me not being too fussed at losing that place.
I would like to push a little this time, but no. Ooh. No, I want to get in front.
Mate, there's 10 laps to go. There's plenty of time for us to get in front. There's plenty of time for us to get in front, Agonize. It's okay, mate. I don't want any of us flying off the track again, mate.
But I don't want to sit like a grandma.
Neither do I, mate, but...
Battery charge is high. Let's use that overtake button a bit
You know,
more.
preferably I'd be, you know, we'd be P3 and 4 going for the race win for those top 2 in front, but we're not, so we're just gonna have to be patient here, pal.
So that was quite a long exchange between the two of us, but essentially, as if I get my words out, essentially, Agonized wants to push forward. I don't blame him for saying this. It's had quite a frustrating race as we get that move completely wrong on Shed. Up into P4 we go, but we are going to have to plan the place back, as Harvey was making sure I avoid a 3-second penalty for a push to pass. So, Agonized is eager. He's desperate to get in front of Ched and James to get back onto the podium places. But I have outlined one thing here, and that's patience. So we let Ched back through on lap 30, and we're down to P5, but there are still 6 laps to go. And there are just 2 cars in front of us. Lap 32, I tried to repass James in the meantime, as we're now looking for an opportunity to try and pass Ched again, as he makes a massive mistake into the banking section, but we just can't find a way through.
Just can't get through, it's so annoying.
And that frustration is slowly kicking in because we've only got 4 laps to go. And the only way we're going to get through is to force an overtake from Ched to James, and then we try and profit from it, because we're not in a favourable position. If you guys have seen the Brazil video, I foolishly took the lead with 3 laps to go. The best place you want to be is second in that DRS train, because you'll just leave yourself with 1 car to overtake on the final lap and then hold position and win the battle. So that's what Ched's going to do. He's going to fly past James. James goes defensive for the inside line. We're going to send it up the inside at turn 1. Bit of contact on the way through. But I can tell you,
What was that?
I did hold my racing line.
I swear, I tried to go on the inside there, man. I'm pretty sure he turns into me.
Now, my verdict is I went for the inside line and I didn't try to make any other inputs with the steering wheel. I was on the inside line, and I'm pretty sure it's the contact model that's completely shafted him here. So we're up into P4. I'll leave you guys with your thoughts in the comments below on that move, as Agonize is fighting with Finbob to get into P5. And now there's just 1 car in front of us, between us and a podium, and that is Ched. We're in the best position possible. Harvey was pretty adamant for me not to make the overtake on lap 35 and wait for the last lap, because that's the mistake we made in Brazil. We don't want to be leading going into the last lap, because you're not in a great position defending wise if you don't have a lot of battery. So let's see what happens here. We're going to start the last lap. Ched goes defensive and then gives the inside line to us, and we've got a lot of closing speed. So by the time we get on the brakes for turn 1, we complete the move very nicely. No contact on the way through, and we are up into 3rd place in this Dutch Grand Prix on the final lap of the race. And now we just need to see it through, but you can see the orange icon shows that the tyres are going off. I think we're about 66% on that left front tyre going into this final lap. So the tyres are going off, the grip isn't quite there, and Harvey is adamant, is reminding me just to make sure that, you know, we have enough battery for the last run towards the line, because we've made that mistake before where we just don't have enough battery saved up for the run to the line. And we're going to make sure we have ourselves a decent margin and a decent amount of battery. But meanwhile, Agonize is getting even more annoyed with Finbob.
What is he doing?
Agonize fuming. He's gone for a spin. But are we going to get P3? It's going to be very close. Do we have enough battery towards the line?
Yes. Yes.
And the answer is yes. It is P3 in this Dutch Grand Prix. And Jano beat Allison in his home race by, I believe it was just half a tenth, or maybe even less. Close margins between the top 2, but it's Jesus Jano with the race win. Allison will have to settle for 2nd place, and we get our first podium in our first race of the season, and I couldn't be happier with that one. And the reason why is because, you know, we made that mistake at the start. We had that bit of a moment on lap 16 as well, and we managed to pick off our opportunities and display patience to execute the moves when it mattered, and we managed to get rewarded by getting that podium. I think the win might have been on the cards, but you know, the pit stop phase and dealing with some hard runners didn't really help out, and Agonize had a tough day of things, and I do feel bad for him because he was getting frustrated the whole race. And in terms of the standings, these are provisional because I might get reported for that move on James, I might not get reported, but right now we are sat in 4th place in the team championship, quite a way off the top 3, so this podium is pretty valuable to us, as you know, we're a good team, I think, but we've just had a bit of bad luck at Silverstone. We had Harvey race Monaco in round 1 on a pad, so fair play to him for that. And, you know, I think there's potential this season. So you can see we're 14th in the driver's standings, but the team standings is where it matters the most. And we're currently 4th, so plenty of opportunities ahead of us. Make sure you get subscribed for more. Check out the 2 videos on screen. And as always, I will see all of you in the next one.